Hello and welcome to another Wannabe Entrepreneur, the podcast about what's really like to bootstrap a company. In this podcast, I narrate my journey as an indie maker, and for the ones that have no idea what I'm talking, indie stands for independent and maker, well, for maker. So we are a group of people, a community really, that want to bootstrap our projects. So this means we don't take any VC money and investments. It's just us, our time, and our creativity. And I've been narrating my journey for the past 2 years. And it started really rough. Then it got better. Then it got worse. And then it got really, really good because now I'm making 11K MRR with my company. So it's two of us actually. So it's not only me. I have a co-founder, but still, it's a really good amount. And yeah, I also share a lot of feelings, and I love to use this podcast as well as my own free therapy. You know, as an indie maker, I'm always trying to save some money. So here we go. Today, I want to talk about success. People often say that successes or the success changes you. You know, we often hear this expression, hey, when you become a millionaire or when you get rich or famous, don't forget about your true friends, don't forget about your roots. But I always ask myself, why did people change with success? And how does this affect people? We have seen a lot of people, especially celebrities, and I don't know. First name that comes to my mind is Elon Musk. I think he has changed a lot. He was always kind of crazy, but I think he's getting more and more extravagant. And there's kind of a love-hate relationship with him. A lot of people love him, a lot of people hate him. In my perspective, at first I really loved him. I respected him as an entrepreneur, I still do. But I always thought that, yeah, what he achieves is crazy. It's amazing. But now, more recently, when I see what he's doing with Twitter and what he has done before, well, I'm losing a little bit of the respect because it seems that he just wants that the means or the end justifies the means, and I don't really agree with that. But if we really think about it, he's crazy. I mean, I think he has millions of followers on Twitter, and he can literally make money by just tweeting a word. When he tweeted Bitcoin, he made tons of money because people just, bought Bitcoin. That's crazy. And that kind of influence that he has and the love that he has by millions of people, it changes you completely. So let me give you my own perspective of how I feel PodSqueeze success is changing and affecting my own personality and well-being and the way I see life. So first of all, I think this is really important, and I even tweeted about this. I haven't changed much in terms of knowledge, right? So before and for the year, 1 year and like 5 or 6 months that I was bootstrapping and making almost $0. Well, not all zero. Like, okay, let's respect that. I was making $500 MRR. That was the top I made with my community. Well, I had people's respect, and people liked me, and they appreciated what I was doing. But once I started making money and advertising the money we were making with PodSqueeze and the success we we're having, everything changed. Suddenly, I'm having like calls and interviews almost every week. Like, I think this week I had like 3 interviews already. People want to hear my opinion on things. They want to set up meetings. Like, it just, everything changed, and people are suddenly much more interested. Like, another great example is on Twitter. I'm growing like crazy. I'm now reaching 3,333 followers. And if you are, by the way, if you are a old listener of this podcast, you know that I always do this little game on Twitter where, like, I ask someone to screenshot once I get to all the numbers the same. Once I get to a number where all the individual numbers are the same, so 101, 111, 222, 333, and now obviously with thousands of followers, it takes more time because I need to wait now 1,000 users, so 1,000 followers, so that I can reach to that amount. But now, yeah, we are reaching to 3,333, which is cool. And I will give a shout out to the person that makes a screenshot. Let's see if they remember. But yeah, even on Twitter, I'm growing like crazy. I'm having a lot of engagement, something that I've never saw before. And I also see that the engagement comes normally when I release something about a success on PodSqueeze. So if I reach a new number on MRR or something like this, normally it's the MRR I share, and I immediately get crazy amount of engagement and likes and comments and everything. But yeah, I don't feel that I've learned anything completely life changing in the past 5 months. I feel that the whole process, the whole like 2 years of interviewing a lot of makers and trial and error and a lot of introspective, a lot of that made in this podcast, by the way, I think I learned a lot. It was kind of a master course on entrepreneurship. Of course, there's just the beginning course. There's so much more to learn still. But yeah, it took some time. However, it seems that only now, when I can somehow validate my success, now people are interested and somehow they validate my learnings. But before, I was the same. So yeah, I don't think that particularly changed. Of course, that now the challenges are different, and I'm learning other things now more towards the tax system of Portugal was terrible, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But there's also something that changed in my perspective of life and my perspective of myself that I was not expecting. Success, or having this success, like changed me somehow, and I'll tell you how. So I think I told you this before, but while growing up, I always envied people that knew what they wanted to do in life. There's people that said they wanted to be doctors or biologists or chef, or they always knew, and that's crazy. I was like, how is this possible that you know what you want to do with like 8 years old or 10 years old or something? Like, you are tailored for success, because if you already know what you want to achieve in life and you are this young, then you have much more years to try to achieve it than other people. So I just, followed whatever others were doing, and yeah, eventually went to engineering because everyone were going for engineering, especially boys. And I started to build websites, and I really loved it. I loved it because, not because I loved the technology necessarily, of course I do, but my main driver was building products, and it was really cool. And I've been doing that ever since. I mean, since I know myself, and that's the funny thing. Since I know myself, I've been trying to build stuff, and I'm having a lot of fun. If I go back in my memories, I have a very early memory where my friend, I think we were like third grade or something, and my friends and I were making bookmarks. We're like drawing and making these bookmarks and selling to our kids until like the teachers told us, hey, like, you cannot sell this. You are 7. you cannot make money in a kindergarten, or not kindergarten, like school, preschool. It's not even preschool. I don't know how this is called, like third grade. So yeah, I actually, if I really think about it now, I always knew what I wanted to do in life. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but that was not an acceptable profession. I mean, there were entrepreneurs even in my life. My father has been an entrepreneur all of his life, and he has his own business, but somehow, I don't know, it was never announced as a profession, I guess. Well, businessman was a profession, like, but entrepreneur and someone that follows their dreams and passions and tries to build stuff and then gives up and builds another stuff, and these creative people, I don't know, I was always pursued, or persuaded rather, to follow a stable career. So I never considered this as a dream. I always consider this as a fantasy. Yeah, I was just a boy dreaming to build stuff because it's fun, but that's not really a profession. So I always did this on the side for a long time, but it kept coming to me every time. Every time if I was working for others in the companies I work for, I would find problems and try to build it myself, the solution. I was always trying to do this. So then that's why at 28 years old, I decided, no, I need to pursue this. I need to see what this is. Like, why do I want so badly to have my own company? And I did that. And initially, it's kind of trying to pursue something, trying to pursue a dream. Really, it's just pursuing the clouds, something that seems impossible, something that people tell you or told me all my life that it's not possible, that I should just get a job and work for others. So yeah, for a long time I thought that this would be a dream. This would be a temporary thing, that it wouldn't be achievable. I would have eventually to like find a job, right? And for a long time that's what I thought. And to be honest, this only changes the moment you're able to pay your bills. That's why indie makers are so obsessed with ramen, with the ramen profitability, to be able to live from your project. Because only then it becomes a professional. Only then it becomes a reality. Only then you can show to others that you can sustain yourself, or yeah, and your family and kids and whatever with your business. Then they take you seriously, and you take yourself seriously as well. So that's basically what changed. Suddenly, I can prove to myself and to others, but I think especially to myself, that this is a valid profession. This is a valid career path that I now can live from my business, and I can actually make a really decent amount of money. So this started to validate all my personality traits. You know, I suddenly started to think, okay, I've great example. I hate just laying down on the beach. And this is something that people here in Portugal love. Every summer, my family would go to the south of Portugal and spend a few weeks just basically doing these beach holidays, which is waking up and going to the beach, laying there, and then repeat that for 2 weeks. And I would get anxiety. Yes, I would get anxiety. I always feel like, what am I doing with my life? I should be. And I would always come up with a lot of ideas. Okay, then I will read 3 books, and I will do this, I'll do that, and then eventually I would never do anything, and I would bring me anxiety. So eventually, what I started doing was, they would go to the beach, and I would stay and code and build products. That's my coping mechanism. And now, instead of seeing this, I always felt bad by doing that. By the way, because I felt that I don't know, I was just not falling in line. Everyone is going to the beach. My family, they're saying like, "Yeah, I will come along," and I'll say no because I want to code instead. And I felt I was doing something wrong. But now I don't feel like that. Now I feel, no, that's just the way I'm made. That's my personality. I don't like the beach. Why should I go? Like, I'm not forcing them to stay here and code. Why are they, quote unquote, forcing me to go to the beach? So that's like an example of things that started to change, right? So I started to get more confidence on my way of seeing life. Like, just today, I kid you not, I had 4 business ideas. They just come to my head. I don't know. I see a problem. I want to solve it. I even tweeted about it. It's like, I see a problem. I'm a simple man. I see a problem, and I buy a domain, and that's basically it. I see a problem. I want to solve it, and I have this naivete. Nice word, naivete. I believe that I can do these things. People call me crazy. They also always say that I'm fascinated about things, like really small things. I don't know, if I see a really pretty bird or something, I get super wow excited, and people like, it's just a bird, dude. What's up? So now I start to connect this personality traits, and I start to accept them, because now I know that I'm not weird. I'm just different. I'm just an entrepreneur, and because of that, I don't suppress them as much. If I have an idea for a project, I say it out loud. I try to make it, and if people don't like it, fuck it. If people think it's crazy, I don't care. And that's the validation that success, the PodSqueeze success, brought to my life. Now, can this be bad? Maybe, right? Because we are society creatures. Like, we need to live in society, and that means that we need to basically cooperate, which means that I might want to go left and the other person might want to go right, but we eventually meet in the middle and go straight. I mean, maybe this is not the best example, but I guess you know what I mean. A lot of times in our life, we just don't do what we want, right? At least not 100%. If you are living with your life partner, you need to find a compromise, right? They want to do something, you wanted to do something different, and you find something, you meet in the middle. When you go to a store, maybe you just want to buy something, but you need to wait in line, right? So we are always compromising, and that's the way we live, and that's the way people like us as well. So if now I let this success get into my head and think, okay, no, everything I do is amazing because I succeeded, and that's just because I'm an entrepreneur, then I'll start to clash with other people, and I'll become this annoying person. I'll become Elon Musk. Obviously, this is a completely different scale, right? Now you're thinking, come on, Tiago, you just have 3,000 followers and you're making a little bit, some few bucks for a few months, and you think you're Elon Musk. No, not at all. I'm not Elon Musk. I'm just saying that I kind of understand. I cannot even comprehend if I'm feeling this with this, small success in comparison with these big shots. Like, how must Elon Musk feel, or like these people? That's why you see them, like, I don't know, doing crazy stuff. Because I guess it just gets to your head. You think like I'm the best. So I think it's really important to be humble. It's really important to appreciate and to know that these things probably won't last. Right? I can just, like, tomorrow, I don't know, ChatGPT dies, or they just whatever ban my app, and we are out, and we are back to square one. So yeah, I think that's it on what changed and what I'm feeling that is changing with the success, and definitely not the learnings, and definitely not the knowledge. The knowledge or the rate that I'm learning new stuff is basically the same. Nothing major changed, but yeah, I think I have a little bit more confidence. Another thing that is happening, and it was took a lot of my time in the past week, was the whole process of building or making a company. Like, officially making a company, and this is so frustrating. I think it was Luca recently asked me, like, what is it, Luca? I don't remember. Someone asked me what was the biggest difference now, like, in now that I'm making money with a project. What is my day to day? Did something change? Where do I focus on? PodSqueeze is already somehow a mature product. What should we do? And I say that now what I noticed, that there's also a lot of, like, managerial organizational stuff that we need to do that is kind of boring. There's a lot of decision making, a lot of reading and having meetings with providers and tax advisors or whatever to try to make the best decisions. So, of course, that I get annoyed when a lot of people, not annoyed, but I get frustrated when people tell me that I'm not making good decisions. And recently that happened with building a company. So it's a remote company. It's a fully remote online company. So it doesn't really matter if the company is registered in Portugal or India or US or Canada, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, for operational reasons, I mean, everything runs in the cloud. But of course, that where I live, where we both live, it matters. That matters a lot. Because normally you have to pay taxes where you live. So I don't want to, like, boring you with the details, but yeah, there are a lot of taxes to be paid. Like, that's also changing a lot my perspective on how I saw life, because I used to believe that, and I still kind of do a little bit, but maybe less, that in Portugal people try, or business owners try to like screw their employers and their employees, and not to pay really low amounts of money and everything. But now I also realized that actually a lot of this money goes to taxes, right? So once I realized that I potentially, or we potentially would pay more than 60% of our profits to the state, to taxes, I started to think, okay, this is not fair. This is just too much, right? Like, I worked really hard to follow my passion to become an entrepreneur. I don't want to just give 60%. And don't get me wrong, I believe in the social state. I believe that we should pay taxes, but it's just too much. So a lot of people, and when I mean like really a lot, from literally everywhere, from Twitter, from my friends, all around the world, they say like, "Hey, why are you creating a company in Portugal? Just do it anywhere else. You can do it in Estonia, Singapore, Delaware, whatever. There's many other places where you don't even need to go there. You can just do it online." So it sounds very easy, very simple when they say that. But then when I go and really go deep and investigate and try to understand what I need to do, what taxes do I have to pay, it's just a huge mess. It's super, super hard. And in the end, my conclusions are always that it's not that cheaper. It's just not that cheaper. And this an asshole. Like, I don't know. Like, I will start my company in Singapore, and it's a bit weird because you need to have someone from Singapore that is part of your company. So there are these services that they will manage all of that for you, and they will attribute someone to have shares or be part of your company that you never met. And that's, I don't know, that's just very dodgy for me. It seems dodgy. It seems weird that this can happen. What if, I don't know, tomorrow they change the laws and suddenly they can just, whatever, take our company? I don't know. I have no idea. Of course, that I could investigate, but it seems that a lot of these people that were telling us this, they just also they don't really know. They were just saying what they were repeating something that they have heard, probably. I don't know. So yeah, I still always felt like kind of dumb. I don't know. For instance, a great example. I think the best situation for us would be to start a company in the Portuguese island of Madeira, because there they have really low taxes. You can do it with low taxes. So I really tried to investigate. I called 3 or 4 different accountants, and all of them told me that I would need to live there. What does it mean? And then that's the problem, right? Because there's a lot of gray areas. That's crazy. We still live in the world where our taxes, our finances, there's a lot of gray areas where it really depends. Some people accept that expenses, for instance, some don't. So some people said, "Oh, it's impossible. You need to move to Madeira. You need to live here." Others came up with like plans, like, okay, you don't need to live here, but your address needs to be registered here, and you need to come to the island, I don't know, 6 times a year, right? And I don't know. And when I told my friend, I said, "Yeah, dude, just do that. Just go there and work for a week." And I'm like, but is that my life? I mean, I'm an indie maker, and I want to have freedom, and suddenly 6 times a year I need to go to Madeira just because I want to save some taxes. It doesn't make sense, right? Anyways, that's been a real pain to like fully understand this, and fully understand the gray areas as well. Because what the biggest difference, right? So to be honest, the taxes on the money that your company does, it's more or less the same around. Actually, Madeira was a bit cheaper, but like Singapore and Delaware and I don't know, Estonia and Portugal, they're kind of the same, I think. So you won't save money, but the difference is the expenses that you can deduct in your company, right? So let's say that your company made $100,000 in a year. You would supposedly pay taxes on this $100 minus whatever expenses you used, right? So you try to reduce the maximum, the money that will be basically taxed. So let's say I buy a laptop. I can say it was for work, so it's deducted. But then let's say that I did a trip. Okay, that's a bit dodgy already, because is this trip for work? Right? So if it's a trip where, I don't know, we go to a conference, for sure. But what if we are going for holidays? And that's where everything changes, because some countries, they accept that. They say, yeah, it's fine, you can just deduct it. Some other countries say, no, it's an online business. If you're traveling to the Bahamas, why did you go there? But then there's also the gray area, which is like, how can they prove? And this is super weird, but it's quite often like people just ask this, okay, you're going to the Bahamas, how can they prove that you're not there for work? You can always come up with some events. You can always come up with, I don't know, just pretend you met someone or you networked, whatever. Like, what is work even? So yeah, then you get to this gray area where some people, some auditors will accept that, some won't, some countries will accept that, some won't. Yeah, it's not as simple. That's the only thing I want to say to people. It's just not as simple, because I've talked with some of my friends. They have the companies there. It seems simple, but in the end, if you want to do things properly, it's not as simple. If you want to do things that are scalable, if you want to grow a company, if you want to get employees, I don't know. At least with my knowledge at the moment, it might change in the future, but it doesn't seem as simple as people advertise. So yeah, our decision is we are making it here. We are making the company in Portugal, which brings also a lot of other frustrations. It brings a lot of frustrations because a lot of things in Portugal, they don't work. They don't work. They are terrible. Like I can give you 100 examples, but I can tell you that just to try to get to register a name for our company, we waited a month, a full month, really, because the first we tried and we selected the names. And even though the system said they were fine, we waited 10 days so that they would be approved. And in the 10th day, they say, no, there's already a very similar name, even though that didn't show up in the tool that they provide. So then we waited another 12 days and they finally approved our name. And it takes so long. Small things like just creating a company, it should be something simple. So now I'm like super frustrated as well with all the process. And again, my entrepreneurial spirit thinks maybe I can change things. So I'm like sending them mails and sending them suggestions. And I even like use GPT to change their UI and say like this UI would be better because people would better understand it. I just doing this. And João was just laughing and saying like, dude, you won't change the country. And I think I can. And I think I can, again, going back to that success part, because now I trust myself. And I know that, I know, even if I'm not able to do anything, even if I'm not able to change nothing, I'm entitled to try. Yeah, that's basically it. I was also, while on this kind of hybrid vacation, I was working on a few things. In my own other projects, I was working on indie lottery. Now it sends once a week, sorry, instead of once a day. So if you go to windylottery.com, you'll find a lot of cool indie projects. And yeah, I don't know. I wanted this. It felt that it wasn't finished. I wanted to do it. Now it's already again in maintenance mode. The community, for the first time I decided to hire a community manager. I was thinking that I love this community, that I cannot give the love that I want, and it would be great to have someone that could help. So I just shared it on our Slack, shared it on Twitter, and said like, I'm looking for a community manager, and we'll split the MRR 50-50. It's not a lot, to be honest. I think I made $400 this past month. It kind of changes, but yeah, whatever. I'm splitting. I didn't think people would go for it, but I did actually get a few people, and I asked them to send a video, like a short video introducing themselves and saying why they want to be community managers, and they did send. So I have already 3 videos, and there's 2 more that I'm waiting, and then in the end I will make the decision, and we'll have someone to help me manage the community, which is super exciting. And so far, some of the people, they already have some experience, and I guess a lot of these people are already doing this. They are managing Reddit subreddits and other communities for free, so they just think, hey, at least now I'm going to get paid, even if it's not a lot. And eventually, if the community grows, I'll get more money. So that's cool. That was really fun, and I'll keep you posted with the whole hiring process. But yeah, at the moment, I just got already 3 videos. I'm also sharing them with some of the members of the community so that they can help me. And yeah, hopefully we'll have a community manager soon, and I'll just keep you posted on what this will bring to the table. And to the community in this case. Yeah, that's basically it. PodSqueeze as well, building some cool features. We are going for video now, and that's going to be exciting. But it's a huge project, and I've been spending a lot of time just doing the architecture, understanding what is the best way to do it, how is the best way, how can we do it. But yeah, that's basically it. I will finish the episode here. Thank you so much again for listening to the Wannabe Entrepreneur podcast. Make sure to share it with our indie hacker friends if you have any questions, and if you want me to cover a specific topic in the episodes, just shoot me a message at WBTiago on Twitter. The links will also be in the show notes. And if you want to support this podcast, you can join our community, our Slack community for indie hackers. And it costs $10 per month, and you'll meet a lot of great people. You'll feel less lonely, and you'll be supporting this podcast. And that's it. This was another Wannabe Entrepreneur. See you next week. Yesterday, for the first time, we saw a cockroach in our house. It was disgusting.